Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review for you guys, as we are now officially on the final chapter. Watch alert, or upcoming. I want to say watch alert, but literally, legitimately a week from now, which it's actually a new week. But this, obviously, this video is being recorded on Monday. But this upcoming Sunday, um will be the final My Hero Academia chapter to come out. I think I'm gonna do it with the best dignity and the best respect. And I'm gonna try my hardest not to look at any spoilers, any leaks, chapter leaks. I'm not even going to read the unofficial translations of the manga chapters. Or of the manga chapter. I'm gonna be honorable and wait till Sunday. Wait till Shonen Jump actually releases the chapter officially, so then I can read it, then come on here, review it, and talk about the ending to My Hero Academia. Now again, I'll probably bring up like the ending and everything, and the fact that it's gonna be surreal next week. Well, actually, it is still surreal that next week, or really this upcoming Sunday, it's gonna be it. It's gonna be it. No more new My Hero, no more new My Hero Academia content, unless Horikoshi somehow announces a sequel series. In any case, at the end, we'll see. I fully expect the time skip to happen, to see where our characters are at and things like that. So, yeah, anyways, let's get on with this chapter, and that's chapter 429. We do get a color spread image of all the My Hero Academia Class 1A characters, along with All Might and Aizawa. So that's the thing. Now, this is chapter 429, titled I'm Here. This chapter was very highly anticipated, with the fact that you're getting the Deku Ochako talk, with the fact that, okay, are they finally gonna be hooking up together, and things like that. So yeah, anyways, we actually start the chapter off with the individual that, you know, a lot of people in the community have been talking about, like, okay, who is this new potential villain and everything that we saw in the epilogue to round out the series. And we basically kind of get an understanding of what he is. Now he goes on to say, all I heard about my quirk was that it was a freak, and it was a freak variant. It was apparently this quirk was unrelated to any of members of his family. And then basically he says, out of nowhere, my mom, dad, sister, uncle, and aunt, grandma, and grandpa, and great grandpa stopped being nice to me. They tied me up, locked me in a basement. I was so scared and sad. I started crying and screaming. So they sewed my mouth shut to keep it from opening wide. Now, first things first, I just want to say this. That is a despicable ass family. That is a despicable ass family. Just because your son, a family member of yours, your niece, your nephew, you know, your grandson, you get it. All the names you can get for anybody he just explained in his family. How despicable you gotta be to essentially put this guy in a basement, lock him away because y'all were scared about his quirk abilities, and then because he would continually screamed and cry because he was probably begging, like, why are you guys doing this? Why? And he's obviously being very upset about this. You then sew his mouth damn near shut. And you're just like, shut up. You don't want to shut up? Well, we'll sew it for you. That's absolutely disrespectful. Absolutely disgusting. And it goes to show you, like, now you see why some people end up becoming villains, because usually they get it from their own damn families, because their families feel different about them and they treat them wrong or abusive in a weird way. And that's how a lot of people, even in today's society, they end up doing terrible things because, well, sometimes, one, it can be for two reasons. Parents just ain't involved in their child's life to find out, okay, they might be going through something, and next thing you know, they end up doing something despicable, or they probably end up offing themselves, or they just abuse them and it ends up becoming them, ends up in terms of them doing bad things, because they feel like, well, my parents do bad things, it's only right that I do bad things to other people to get, lash out and get revenge on what it is. But regardless, like, that's absolutely disgusting behavior from that family. The fact that they did that to this dude, because he had a quirk that was unrelated to anything that they may have had in their family, and you were afraid. Like, Ninja, just take him to a fucking doctor to see what the hell this quirk is about. Anyways, he goes on to say, I don't know how many years went on, but one day they told me the country's doomed and tossed a bunch of water and baked goods at me. After that, I never saw them again. So I guess at least they were somewhat decent to give him some food and water, but even then, it's still like, wouldn't you just want to bring him along? But of course, it seems like you just upped and left him because you wanted to protect your own safety. Now he ends up saying like about more time passing and there was a big crash or something, and it basically gave an open, way to get out of the basement. Just like that, he was free to go outside. The sunlight was basically painful for him, and he was scared, and he was wondering what he had done wrong and why he has to feel so sad. And he goes on to talk about all this time he's been so scared and sad, and you see him where he's just like you see the souls came out and he can like move, and basically says, so why are all these people smiling so much? I've always loved seeing people smile. Now this cuts back over to where we last left off from the last chapter with Deku and Ochako, and everything. And basically, the thing is, Ochako's essentially blaming herself for the fact that Toga died, and if not for her getting injured, Toga might have still be alive, and she wouldn't be looked at in a bad picture, in a bad light as some villain that just died, because really, because again, she made the mention like the cameras cut off because there's no power to those cameras. So basically, the regular society thinks that Toga just died a villain and she was just a villain, but Ochako knew that even though she did all those things, all those wrong things in the past, she died, but she died saving her. So in a weird way, I guess you can say, even though she did these detestable things, she did a heroic act, while taking her last breaths and everything. And obviously, Ochako is breaking up and very emotional now. That's when Deku, obviously we got from last chapter, showed up. He screams up to Uraraka, and basically Ochako covers up, and she's like, Deku, and I think she's trying to cover up to hide the tears that she's hiding, and she's wondering like why he's here. But Deku's like, I just knew somehow, so I leapt over with one for all. Now this is, if everybody remembers, this is the same spot they talked about their feelings about their upcoming fights with Shigaraki and Toga before the second war arc and everything. They had their talk and everything, and basically Ochako, she just basically tries to hide the tears as much as she can. She's like, look, I'm just heading home for now. And basically Deku replies with saying, which would have been fine, but I had a feeling you'd be here. And right now Ochako's like, I just don't want to be seen right now. And then obviously Deku's like, sorry, but I want to show you, or I want you to show me what you're going through. Because Deku ends up continuing on a statement, because throughout these panels you get flashbacks to when, Deku first met Ochako and all their times and their moments and everything. But anyways, Deku goes on to say, because Uraraka, you've always been this way. Even back during the entrance exam. And with the points we needed to pass all along without fail. And this is when Deku starts to tear up, which makes Ochako start to cry. He goes on to say, like, look, you prioritize others over yourself during the sports festival too, every time since way back. You've been saving me every step of the way. And this gets Ochako to start breaking down in tears. And that's when Deku basically makes the confession that he likes Ochako. No, he doesn't say that. He tells Ochako, but I guess if you want to interpret that way, in a weird way, it's kind of like him saying, I really like you. But he ends up saying, like, you're my hero. Because of the fact, Deku's basically saying, like, look, you've been there every step of the way for me since the day we first met. You've helped me along the way. Because, like, shit. Again, their relationship goes way back to like the original parts before they even knew who they were, because remember, he was walking in and he was walking in just for the entrance exam. He was about to trip over, and the next thing you know, she grabbed him and saved him using her quirks so he didn't have to fall. And then in turn, he ended up saving her from almost getting crushed by the robot. And because of that, Deku wasn't gonna be even included in UA, but a little bit due to the fact that Ochako kind of begged the UA people, saying like, "Look, I'm not worthy of making UA." He actually saved me. If not for him, he should be in UA. If not for him, I'd probably be really badly hurt, right? So we know way going back, she vouched for him, and Deku saw that, and that was a reason why that was kind of the main reason why he ended up like getting into UA, mostly based on due to Ochako. I guess you could say somewhat recommendation, even though morally it was the school realizing, well, he did something heroic, so that gave him a leg up against other people. And throughout the entire series, you just see how they've just always been there for each other. She's always been there at his darkest moments. Obviously, we know the Dark Deku stuff and the fact that, I made the mention last week, like she was there telling the civilians who was in UA, like, listen, let him continue his Hero Academia. I understand that obviously he comes with a lot of baggage and a lot of revelation, the fact that he does put us at a potential amount of danger when it comes to All For One. But at the end of the day, he's no younger than I am. He's got a huge burden to carry. So please let him stay here so he can rest and get stronger. She was there for him at each and every one of his darkest moments. And from Deku's perspective, it's like with somebody that is there for him, to him, that's something heroic. And to him, he feels like she's been a hero to him because everything that they've been through. And again, like I said, it's kind of an indirect confirmation of Deku confessing to Ochako that he likes her. I know he's not indirectly saying it, but it's basically a way of confessing, like, listen, you've always been there for me, and I really appreciate and like that about you. So that's the thing. And basically, Deku goes in to say, look, which is great and all, but I don't want to continue to keep taking, that strength of yours for granted. He then goes up to her and he grabs her hand and he's like, holding a hand can be enough to soothe the pain. And at this point, Ochako's just breaking down into tears, and that's when she tells Deku, like, Toga essentially, it's her fault that Toga died. And she basically holds on to Deku, and I guess in a weird way she's crying on his shoulder. Now she goes on to say, like, if only I didn't get stabbed, if only my head wasn't full of pointless thoughts, she didn't have to share her blood with me, and then she never would have had to, die. She goes and say, if only I had figured her out sooner, maybe I would have gone differently, and we'd met as little kids. And basically that's when Douglas continues his statement saying, like, look, I get it. The same thing's been weighing on my mind about Tenko, about Tomura Shigaraki, I mean. I was told that I couldn't tackle that battle the same way as all the others. All For One himself said that the path I chose was a thorny one. Even so, I know we kept going above and beyond to reach out. Even when nobody's asking, it will make a difference. Then all of a sudden, we see it where the other members of Class A show up, and basically they're like, Ochako, we're here for you too, because we were also worried. They basically comfort Ochako and say, look, you don't need to worry about, trying to take all this burden on yourself. You can talk to us. We're your friends. Now, Bakugo then asks the question. He's like, hey, the embers are still within you, right? And basically Deku's like, yeah, I'm fine. Now, everybody else like embers, and basically, class A at this point, they believe Deku has no more. They think that Deku has no more One For All. They think he's quirkless now. But with the fact that they find out like he's got embers, they're like, wait, that means he still can be somewhat of a hero, right? And everything. So that's the thing. And we get some panels where we see some resolutions and things like that. Monoma has a statue erected in front of UA. He's probably going to be bragging about that. They're doing the goodbye party for Ayama, so you have it to where Eri singing, which is a callback to season 4, after the overhaul arc where Eri talked about how she wanted to sing and everything, sing for everybody. And basically everybody's just happy. We cut over to All Might and Hawks, and basically Hawks is saying they're broadening the scope of the billboard chart or All Might talks about broadening the billboard chart of the heroes, like the ranking system. And basically, Hawk's like, yep, that's part of the plan. But he goes on to say, but only once the country's on its feet again, of course. It's clear that plenty of folks besides us pro heroes played a huge role in this war, which is why we should also be giving props to the heroes in the original sense of the word and not just currently employed professional capital H heroes. All Might then replies to the statement by saying, I thought you might want to lean away from that whole popularity contest altogether. And Hawks replies to this by saying, that makes sense if you're only seeing the cons of the system and none of the pros. But I'm talking about an update that doesn't toss the baby out with the bathwater. So it's cool. I also like the fact that All Might's eyes are starting to show more. You can kind of see like early on, like I wouldn't say he put on a facade, but you could say he put on a facade to just be a symbol. But the fact, like, now his eyes are starting to show, and it's starting to go away because it's like he realizes, like, you know what, I don't have to depend, I don't have to be that symbol. And also the fact that it seems like Hawks is creating a system to where not only we're going to recognize just the heroes for their accomplishments, we want to recognize other people and stuff like that. So that's the thing. And Hawks goes on to say, because even the greatest of all time can only handle so much. And if we're hoping to save more folks, those saviors got to include more than just the pros. And basically All Might responds by this saying, I see, in hopes of cultivating any number of great heroes. Then the chapter essentially ends off with what we see the boy that was locked up. It looks like he's going to activate his quirk and do something crazy, but then next thing you know, we see this old woman grab his hand, and he's like, you there, boy. And basically we find out that this old woman is the same old woman that didn't, take Shigaraki's hand back when he was a little kid after he killed his parents. And basically she talks about how she still wonders about what happened to that boy and what would have happened if she had maybe didn't walk away from him. So then, anyways, she goes on to say, that day, Izuku Midoriya demonstrated to society the need to support each other. He taught us that sitting back and doing nothing isn't an option. I know that, and we actually see, and Deku and Ochako are actually there on the scene, and it looks like they were going to go maybe take care of the situation and help this individual before he went loose, but then they saw the grandma get involved. He goes on to say, I know that what he did hit home with society, and I bet someday soon you'll be just fine because Granny is here to help. Again, I don't know if that's like his actual grandma, the one that basically shunned him. It would probably make sense that it would actually be his blood-related grandma. And you see him, she looks up, he gets emotional, so it seems like the day is saved. I guess it would make sense it would be his blood-related grandma because if that's the case, I'll be like, if that's the case, like, it makes sense to why all those years ago she rejected Shigaraki, because it's like, what the frick. But yeah, but anyways, yeah, Deku and Ochako were gonna go there, but then Ida comes, he's like, hey, what you guys doing? And basically Deku and Ochako kind of laugh it off and everything. And yeah, and also I guess it somewhat indirectly confirms like they might be together too. So yeah, that's where the chapter ends off, and then essentially that leads to one more chapter. We have one more chapter left in My Hero Academia, barring any other break that is coming up for whatever reason. But the last chapter will be this upcoming Sunday. And it's gonna be very interesting to see how the series ends. But I like that story, how at the end, where now society's realizing, yes, heroes obviously have to do their part, but we can also do our part in reaching out a helping hand. And obviously due to Deku's message, that's what he did. And he communicated to society through his actions, like, we need to help others. We need to help others. We just can't have the heroes handle this, ignore it. We also have to play our part. So it's nice to see that Hero Society is definitely going to change for the better. And even it's going to change for the better with the fact that civilians, I'm not saying are directly getting involved in fights and everything with villains, but they're finding ways to help maybe prevent bad things from happening or preventing people from becoming villains and things like that. So I like that message. I do like that message. Obviously, That's the overall theme message of this chapter, even more so of like, oh, is Deku and Ochako gonna hook up and everything? But that's the thing. To me, I look, regardless, I don't care. Yeah, they don't really confirm. Horikoshi doesn't confirm like they're together. But listen, we all know deep down they're together. They've been an item. They've been a theme really for half the series. And this chapter alone, with the moment that they shared, a heart-to-heart moment to the point that they're leaning, literally, they're almost damn near hugging each other while they're crying and expressing their feelings to each other, about their situations, about how they feel about Shigaraki and Toga. It's basically like confirming like they're gonna be together. And plus, like I said, when Deku essentially said like you're my hero, it's an indirect way of saying like I like you, and I like you more than just friends. So maybe next chapter we could definitely see a time skip, and then maybe we could see it to where Deku and Ochako definitely are together, and maybe we see them, graduating UA, and then obviously we get a hint of the fact like, oh yeah, are you gonna go with your girlfriend or something, yeah, or maybe, Deku's mom is right there saying like, you've done it, honey, and everything, you're a pro hero now, and who knows, maybe his mom's just gonna be like, aren't you gonna go celebrate and congratulate with your girlfriend or something? Maybe he said she makes around. Whatever. We could definitely get a time skip to see where our Class A characters are at in the future, and things like that. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm still convinced, that One for All is, even though Deku continues to say Embers, I still have a feeling that One for All is gonna come back, and it never left Deku's body. It's just the restarting of the quirk again, and it's this new One for All, and everything, where it's just the base quirk again, and he'll still be able to do it. But if they end up having it to where the quirk's gone, and he's quirkless again, I won't be mad. I'll be a little bit sad, but it'll be like it is what it is. But unless I guess they tell a sequel series where they explain, and I guess they have a full bring arc like they did in Bleach where he could get his powers back. But we'll see. But I'm convinced like One for All, yes, he continues to say Embers, but I think it's just a small flame, because One for All isn't what it used to be anymore. And all the users are gone, and I feel like, in my opinion, it's the quirk restarting over again, and this time now it isn't just a quirk that All for One gave to Yoichi, and it got passed down. I feel like now One for All is this after the Vestiges left and everything. I feel like One for All now that One for All is completed the task of defeating All for One, because that's what the quirk was for. All for One, it's now a new One for All, but this time it's now Deku's One for All, and he'll start the next trend of passing this quirk down to the next, and really it will probably only go to quirkless individuals if he can find a quirkless individual, so that's the thing. But anyways, solid chapter. It's going to be a very emotional chapter next week, with the fact that it's going to be the conclusion to My Hero Academia, but I will be here talking about it next Sunday and things like that. So I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button if you want to get more My Hero Academia content, and things like that. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day or night in this video. Peace.